What was the behavior? What were the feelings? What were the thoughts when you first initially reached out to me?
I swear I remember first seeing your more jokey posts when I was lying in bed on a Sunday morning at 6 a.m., unable to go to sleep because I'd just gotten back from an after party. The posts kind of resonated because they were like, "Are you reading this at 6 a.m.?" I'm like, "Yes. I am reading this at 6 a.m. as a matter of fact." That's kind of where it started, is that I'm like, you know what? Let's see what this guy's about. Let's see if this is a sham because it's social media. You have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. The thoughts in my head concurrently were that it might be time to go full stop and go full sober. So, what I mean by that is I've had any number of rock bottoms. I had tried various programs. I had tried AA. I think I might have mentioned this on my 1 year story. I had even tried some of the more medicinal routes, specifically with like a naltrexone situation. I think that's how you pronounce the medicine, where you could still drink, except it reduces the cravings. I guess the pattern here is all of the solutions I was looking at were still allowing me to keep drinking without addressing the root cause. I think, well, even when I first reached out to you, I said something along the lines of, I want to stop using drugs, but I want to keep drinking. So if you can kind of help me with one part, maybe we'll get to the other part later. Obviously, you guys were flexible enough to go, just let's talk about it. We can help you. Other people have done that before. But I think also you and the coaches were pretty consistent in the messaging, whereas just trying to mitigate the drugs without getting into the root cause, which was the alcohol and the drugs, it's almost a band-aid approach. But again, let's just see how it works. I think that approach lasted maybe 2 to 3 weeks max, where I was kind of like, that's it. This is not working. The alcohol is the problem. Let's just go full stop into it.
When you did join the program and you invested in
Yeah.
yourself, what was your first initial reaction to being there?
If I'm being perfectly honest, at first I was a little bit overwhelmed, but sort of in a good way. What I mean by that is by virtue of being in the States, I don't really use WhatsApp. So the idea of WhatsApp communities and kind of engaging with what are effectively strangers via WhatsApp, as far as the community piece, that was totally foreign. The piece when it comes to having one-on-ones with coaches, monthly standing calls on Zoom, that was sort of what I had expected, but the community piece was totally new. So as it goes, I think I kind of just, for the first couple of weeks, I would just check my phone. I would just kind of be a lurker, hiding in the shadows, kind of trying to get a feel for it, right? Because of course there's a healthy dose of skepticism as well, just to see what it's about. But I think after, I want to say 1 to 2 weeks, after joining a couple calls, especially kind of seeing that the faces on the Zoom calls matched up with the people that were in the community, and also that, again, that it wasn't a hoax or a scam, that's when I started to feel pretty comfortable about diving in.
How did that compare to anything else you tried before?
That's a good question, and I'll answer that question, and I want to be careful for other programs because like I'm gonna immediately bring up AA. With all due respect to whomever listens to this, like this is not to diminish AA. It's worked for a lot of people. It's working for people now, but it simply was not for me. When I walked into an AA meeting, remember how I'd said something with regard to just the vibes were positive? Just to kind of very simply summarize the community. An AA meeting, it's almost the complete opposite. I would walk into there, just you feel guilty, you kind of feel ashamed, kind of embarrassed a little bit. I simply walked out of those just not feeling good about myself. Also, to piggyback that, the medicinal route, I didn't exactly have positive side effects from there. It would mess with my stomach. I still kind of felt like I was cheating. As far as I could concern, I was alone in going the medicinal route for a little bit as well. But in the community, it was just, I made friends with people immediately. People were excited. Whenever I would post, it would be immediate engagement. I made friends pretty quickly. I think after my first or second call, I don't want to say any names. There are folks that I still kind of keep in touch with. Just knowing that it was positive, it was welcoming. People are pretty honest in there. And also, forgive my language, people aren't assholes in the community either. I will also say that you and the coaches are very good about kind of monitoring the back and forth in the chat. I will admit, sometimes with different people. Like subjects will get a little touchy, but I swear it doesn't go unanswered for maybe an hour until somebody will kind of swoop in and be like, all right, let's pump the brakes on this one and take this one elsewhere. So I hope that helps. I think I said this on my 1 year. The reason I'm bringing this up now is because I am preparing on my 2 year to kind of speak to the community again. My key takeaway was kind of like the community, like this and the program, it truly did save my life. I'm saying this for the benefit of whomever may be listening to this at this point, but I have a driving under the influence thing on my record. I crashed a car. I've been bankrupt. I've woken up in hospitals. I've lost jobs. I've had to move cities for effectively a fresh slate. So any number of those reasons could very well be it for somebody else. Looking back on it now, the community in the program has saved my life. I am more alive and more clear. Over the past 2 years, it's helped me kind of be congruent and aligned with, let's call it, the person that I am, and very likely the person that I'm meant to be, and that I kind of wish I was over the past few decades. The person I was kind of hiding, if you will, or trying to be somebody else, just being on eight balls and tequila shots. I don't even know who that person is. When I first joined the program, similar to other programs, is every day you kind of think about, like, how could I stay sober? Like, how could I stay on the path? Routines and planning was very important on my end. But for better or worse, I was kind of thinking about my sobriety very frequently, especially in the early stages of the program. Now, I don't think about it. And I think that dovetails to your point on how folks in other programs like AA, 10 years down the line. However, it seems like every day is still a struggle. That's not the way to kind of live your life, right? I genuinely don't think about alcohol or drugs at all. I'm not white-knuckling my way through life like I was before the program. It's not until I may be at my friends and everybody's kind of just drunk that I go, it's not even like I look at it from jealousy or a fear of missing out or a FOMO. It's almost more like I kind of look at it like nostalgia. Right? Like, oh, amidst all the trouble and like the drama, like there were some good times there. I guess like to truly be like at peace with who I am and whatnot, you kind of have to confront the past and just kind of letting those memories or those thoughts bubble up and being fine with them. Like that's who I was. That's not who I am now. It is what it is. I've put in the work. I've made the change. I could look fondly about that and kind of laugh at myself. I think to me, those are the real signals of growth and change and adaptation. But again, that's just my personal take.
Well, that's what we're here to hear about, is your
Yeah,
personal take on this, man. And I think that's exactly what I wanted.
it's opened up so many doors that like I effectively get 3 to 4 extra days kind of back from a time perspective because I'm not hungover. I'm not wasting my weekends away. I'm not worried about what it is that I might have done when I'm blacked out or the night prior. All I do think about now is, am I getting better? And by that, I don't mean from like a healing or recovery standpoint. I mean, with this gift of sobriety and like having my life back, am I taking advantage of that time to the best of my ability? Don't get me wrong, sometimes I think it would have been fantastic if I discovered the program 3 to 4 to 5 years ago. Yes, I certainly have those thoughts. But the converse of that is I found the program when I did. And frankly, like I'm not sure it would have happened any other way. Right. So that's kind of how I think about it. Before, in the early stages of the journey, yourself included, it would be almost like status reports. Like, I've got a big weekend coming up, or this is what my last week was like. How do I prepare for a wedding? How do I prepare for this trip? Am I doing too much? But now I talk to Adam, I talk to Chris, and I'll be honest, man, I'm not even sure we talk about sobriety or being teetotal at all. It's let's talk about what your plans are. Like, what were your goals? What are you striving towards? The conversation has evolved, but they're still important. It's remarkable that the coaches and the program can meet you on day one, but it could also meet you on day 683, which is what I'm at now. So it's fantastic. There's never been a time when I kind of thought like, oh, I'm not really sure if we're on the same page anymore. As the conversations adapt, so has the community and so has the program. The program and the community truly is like a holistic approach. What I mean by that is I never meditated. before the program. I never did breath work. I never really journaled. I never do those things. Now my morning isn't complete unless I get a few minutes of meditation, a few minutes of breath work. Frankly, like after this call, like it's going right in my journal. So these are all things that, again, you could argue they have nothing to do with me not going to the bar anymore or not calling a drug dealer. These are like life things that I just enjoy doing now. And I frankly couldn't see myself not doing these things anymore. Well, working out, eating healthy, meditating. It's kind of just who I am, which again, I wouldn't have found without the program. What really kind of helps is obviously you go in there, you kind of talked about it earlier, that one of the key like values in the program is that everybody you meet is kind of at a different stage. There's somebody that just started yesterday. There's somebody that started the same day as I am. There's people like you that are 8 years ahead, 2 years, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, right? There's that flavor of sobriety, however you want to call it. And I would say like the biggest value in that is what are they doing? Right? Like, what is Adam doing? What is Chris doing? And you see that they're meditating. You see they take cold showers here and there.
The final thing I'd love to
Yeah.
hear what you say on this is, let's say someone in a similar place to you, but they're, like you said, it's healthy to be skeptical. It's healthy to be
Yeah.
like, this guy, I found him online. Like, what is this stuff? I guess what reassurance can you give that person so they get the help that they need?
The initial dose of skepticism is healthy. If anything, I would keep that in mind over the first couple of weeks. With that healthy dose of skepticism goes two ways. What I mean by that is you can't just put all the pressure on the program and the community to change you. What I mean by that is you have to also put in the work yourself. So don't just sit back and let your first month kind of fly by and expect something to have changed. If you're not joining the calls, if you're not doing your one-on-ones, if you're not giving the tools a try in those first couple of weeks, then of course it's not going to work, right? And then maybe your skepticism is validated. So I would urge whomever reads this or sees this or hears this, it's fine for you to be skeptical, but I challenge you to put in the work and try it. Don't let those first couple of weeks go by because all it's going to take is just 1 to 2 weeks for you to realize that some of this stuff is very cool. Some of this stuff is easy to implement, and there are very quick wins.
It's always good to catch up with you, and you're looking really well.
I appreciate you, boss.